When we announced the £25,000 target, some alcohol may have been involved.
Do we have nicknames in the fundraising team?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know what my team have given me.
What you called outside a meeting.
Nobody wants to see my...
No. You couldn't go away from
Rugby players do, generally speaking, have
awful feet.
Awful feet.
Welcome to you both for another instalment of our Don't Say the Word Eleanor podcast. And this is an income generation mini-series. And I'm very, very pleased to be joined by Nicola Irvine, who is our Head of Supporter Engagement at Eleanor. Woo! And Gareth Moore, who is Chairman of Mole's Rugby... Rugby club. Rugby.
No, not the rugby club. Go on, I'll get into too much trouble about that.
Not at the moment. Okay, so chairman of the Moles...
social rugby team, which is a rugby team within the rugby club.
Which is Gravesend Rugby Club.
Gravesend Rugby Club.
There we go. Welcome to you both. Thank you for
Welcome.
joining us. So in the episode today, we're highlighting the exciting partnership between Eleanor and Gravesend Rugby Club Moles team. So Nicola and Gareth are going to share some insights on the journey to this collaboration. Interested to hear how we got here. Impact on our local community and obviously how it supports individuals living with life-limiting conditions and their family, which is the heart of everything that we do at Eleanor. So I'm going to crack straight on. Get straight into it.
Ready?
Nicola, can you tell us about supporter engagement? What is it? What does it mean for Eleanor?
Okay, so the support engagement team is a team of people who are fundraisers by profession and they're relationship builders. So it incorporates the corporate partnerships team, who you've met before.
Yes.
The trusts and foundations team. So they'll work with organisations like Children in Need to secure funds for various projects that we run within the organisation. Our events team, who put on amazing events like our Twilight Walk, and then our community fundraising team, who work within our local community with schools, groups, clubs, individuals who are doing their own thing, like a head shave or a bake sale or a boot fair, to not only to raise funds, but also to raise awareness about our organisation, who we are, what we do. And by doing that, not only do we raise the essential funds that we need to provide all the services that we do, but also we signpost and help people understand how they can interact with us and how they can reach our services in a very broad way.
Yeah. There's a lot to it then. There's a lot of teams, focusing on a lot of different things.
There's a lot of different strands within fundraising. So my team incorporates those four main areas. And by doing that, we're working our utmost. Our budget is around just under £1 million a year within my team that they have to fundraise for. And it's probably about a quarter of that comes from our community fundraising. So group. So we'll find out a little bit more later about Gareth and his team's fundraising. But they are our biggest community fundraisers this year. They've been incredible.
Are you? Wow. Interesting.
I didn't know that.
We need to get you a T-shirt. Biggest community fundraiser.
Yeah, we should. We get you badges.
Eleanor.
We love a badge.
We should. We get you a badge. We like a badge at Eleanor, as you can see here. We get you a badge. So how did this partnership come about then with Moles?
I think Gareth's probably best placed to talk about this because it's a really inspiring story behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Moles is a rugby club or a team within the Gravesend Rugby Club, and it was started just over 25 years ago by a gentleman called Gary Theobald, who unfortunately passed away in 2015, I think. But he was a pretty inspirational sort of figure within Gravesend Rugby Club. And he started out the Moles as a conduit for dads of lads, people who'd never played rugby before, people returning to rugby to kind of get on the field, and they became a very, very sort of social team.
Yeah.
So that was 25 years ago. Gary was a force of nature. You never realised you'd been sort of given a job until you got home and
What have I just said yes
I'm now
to?
coaching the under-8s. How did that happen? But he set up the girls' rugby team within Gravesend Rugby Club. He was one of the people that started out wheelchair rugby, lots of things that he's and the Moles was one of his passions. So he is number one mole.
Okay.
And I know you were talking about LGBTQ earlier on.
Yeah.
We played a number of teams. One of the first teams that we played was a team called King's Cross Steelers, which is, if you know, in the rugby spheres, they are sort of a gay rugby club. And nobody would play them back in the day.
Really?
Apart from Gravesend Rugby Club and a couple of others. So we played the Steelers pretty much twice a year. Every year since that started. So that was 25 years ago. So it's our silver anniversary, if you like. And post-COVID, we hadn't really done any fundraising. And prior to COVID, the Moles had always done something, whether it would be providing money into the Mini and Youth section or supporting the British Legion. But we hadn't really done anything. And we thought, well, we should, to coincide with our 25th anniversary, we should do something.
Yeah.
And that's how it sort of started out. And we were like, well, what do we do? And who do we support? And I was talking to James Percy, who is Director of Rugby at Gravesend. And he mentioned the Eleanor Hospice because his father had been a beneficiary of the hospice, and another of the people within Gravesend Rugby Club had also, benefited from the services of the hospice. And he said, if you go with that, you'll get a lot of groundswell of support.
Okay, because we're quite well known, aren't we, in Gravesend?
Quite well known. I'm recently moved into Gravesend. I lived sort of 10 miles away, so I was sort of aware of it, but not in the forefront of my mind. So that's how it kind of came about.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We started off with let's raise some money. And we said, let's try and do £5,000.
And that's a decent target to start with, isn't it?
An amazing
5,000,
target to start with, but then it grew.
Oh, hang on, it got more, did it? Okay.
And then I was sat with Stephen Weeks, who was the previous chairman of the Moles Rugby Club. We said, well, if it's 25 years, we should try and do £25,000.
Oh, my goodness.
That's how it came about. Wow. And it snowballed from there.
Really?
I mean, you can imagine the dream a phone call like that is. You know, that just doesn't happen within community fundraising. We've got some incredible supporters that annually raise £5,000. Perhaps there's a few that do £10,000 or around that figure, which
big
is
sum,
which
isn't
for
it?
us is huge.
Yeah.
But to get a call that says, "Oh, we're going to try and raise £25,000 for Eleanor," wow,
that's
well, when
so
you do,
lovely.
you always get carried away. So I thought, well, if we can do 25, we could probably do 50. And
Write it in. Yeah.
I was like, actually, 25 is quite difficult to do.
Let's start with that, and then we'll see where we go from there. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what you said there, because you're right, particularly for, in our town, we're very well known, we're well established as, the local hospice. And it's not just Gravesend that we cover. We obviously reach out to Dartford, Gravesham, Swanley, Children's Services within Bexley area. So we cover a vast area, if you like, but we're very, very well known within many areas around Gravesend. And a lot of the people that are playing rugby would either experienced our services or have someone within their family who's experienced our services. So it's like, I see it as almost like Eleanor's like a thread that weaves through a lot of the community groups. And we're just so appreciative that, you chose us, and the phone call, I'm sure Nicola fell off her chair when it was like, 25,000.
A number of people have said to us,
brilliant.
oh, yeah, brilliant. My family,
It's a big connection,
used the
isn't
hospice
it?
And,
Yeah.
So, because I'm not from this
lovely.
area and I don't have any close family. So, it's not really come into my consciousness, but other people, it's there quite a lot.
And is that, so 25 is your target?
Yeah.
Where are you up to? Is this a new thing? How long has this target been set?
So it's been going for about 12 months.
Wow, okay.
Just
Brilliant.
over 12 months.
Yeah.
We're nearly there.
Are
Not
you?
quite. Nearly there.
Are we allowed to say where we're at?
Well, there's been a few people there's been an organising committee. There's about myself, Stephen Weeks and his wife, Janine, Fiona Norman and Pierre. Pierre's going to do the tally up. But I would suggest we're probably about 22 and a half.
Oh my goodness, with it. Let's have a little clap.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very, very good.
What
very
an
good.
amazing team
Well
they
done.
are.
Yeah, and special Pierre, Janine, Stephen and Fiona. They've been the driving force of it.
Wow, thank
I'm
you
the more
so
the ideas
much.
person. Set it off rolling. And then some people have done a lot more hard work than me.
You're like the delegator. You're chairman, aren't you?
Yeah,
That's
let's
right.
go with that.
Delegate. Just delegate all the tasks off. Oh, that is amazing, honestly. And in a year as well.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
So it's
Thank
about
you
13
much.
months. 13
Oh,
months
my
is what it
goodness.
is. Yeah. So I think
Brilliant.
we're going to try and round it out this month. We've got a few things that we would like to try and do to kind of hit that target.
Hit the target.
Have a bit of a pause
Yep.
and then think about, sort of
Where you
probably
go
next
from
year,
there.
what we do next year.
That's
What comes
amazing.
next? Yeah. Well, we're working really closely together, and because of the relationship with the Moles, it's really enhanced our relationship with the overall club. Do you say that's
okay.
fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and what's been really lovely is as a result of this partnership, I mean, we've had really good relationships with the rugby club for a very long time. The rugby club's been going for a long time now. I can't remember off the top of my head how old the club is, but it's
Well,
definitely
I hope that's...
If anyone knows,
definitely,
you can
it's
text in.
definitely
Let us
as
know.
old. It's older than Eleanor.
Which is 35.
35 years old.
Yes.
So
it's-
so that
okay.
relationship has actually been ongoing for a very, very long time. And in the past, the club has raised funds for us. But obviously, we're a big community and there's lots of calls for support. The club have had to focus on their own work that they do as well, and their outreach work and so on that they do. So what's been really lovely is it's strengthened our relationship with the club. The club have been supporting Eleanor in new ways that we haven't done before. So for example, we hold a monthly quiz night and we've outgrown our previous venue. So we were regularly selling out and people turning up and us not being able to accommodate them. And the club very kindly have given us their venue for free for one evening a month. So we hold our
that's
quiz nights now
amazing.
from the rugby club, and it's brilliant because it's got a much, much bigger capacity
huge,
than we
isn't
had
it? Yeah.
before, which means we don't have to limit how many tickets we're selling. Everybody can just turn up. There's no kind of pressure to book ahead. We don't have to worry about how many tables there are and that kind of thing. It's been wonderful. And the team at the rugby club have been absolutely phenomenal, so helpful. I can't tell you, Anna, what a relief it is to have such a welcoming, friendly venue for us to invite our quiz participants to. And it's not just the quiz, we're holding other events there. We've got our Christmas fair there. And I know that the events team are having conversations about some other activities they want to plan for next year. So that's been really beneficial in terms of that developing relationship. And that's come about because of the moles.
Perfect.
And also off the back of the relationship with the moles, the club have committed to ongoing support once the moles have completed their fundraising. So
that's huge, isn't it?
yeah,
Like,
it's
that's
really massive.
But that's a big deal. Thank you so much for that. That's amazing.
It really is. And the rugby club is a really big part of our local community. They've got, do you know how many members you've got in total? It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another trick question.
Sorry, I put you on the
We're
spot.
talking a lot about these trick statistics.
Let's just say
here,
it's a lot.
So the rugby club is a thriving part of the community.
It is, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it is their social sort of epicenter. My wife would say a bit too close to an epicenter, but a lot of people do go down there. Over the weekend, and so certainly when my son was going through mini and youth, I think I was down there every night in some shape, form, or capacity.
Yeah.
I'll be down there for training, coaching, matches, mini and youth on a Sunday. So there are a lot, and there's a huge and thriving mini and youth section. So and then there is we'll probably come on to this in terms of we've been able with the partnership with Eleanor is to relaunch social rugby within Gravesend Rugby Club, because there's always been the first and second team play at a reasonably competitive sort of standard, and it requires quite a lot of sort of training and sort of commitment and bangs and knocks and all that sort of stuff. But social rugby, since post pandemic, has taken a bit of a hit. And whereas we used to have 5 teams, it went to 4. And then it went to 3. And we had 3 teams last year.
Okay.
And we've been able to kind of regenerate a 4th team. And so we've had 4 teams out on a Saturday, which is huge.
Well done.
Absolutely bucking the trend of rugby in the UK at this moment in time.
Good.
And we'll hopefully get 4 teams out this weekend and just keep growing. So that's 4 sort of reasonably competitive teams.
Yeah.
But the 3rd and the 4th team, more for the love of the game.
More for the social as well. And that's such a big element of rugby as well. I mean, I played rugby myself for many years, and it is like the social bit is so important.
Yeah.
And it's that, for me, rugby's quite, we talk about sense of community. And I think for me, looking at the commonalities between who we are at Eleanor and what we aim to achieve, and a rugby club in general, particularly Gravesend Rugby Club, which I've got many ties with, that community feel mirrors. It's like that's probably why this partnership is working very well. And it, again, like you say, maybe this is the foundation has been laid, and now we can try to grow that relationship with you even further. And who knows where it will take us? Who knows?
It would be very remiss of me to say I've been very male focused, and I've forgotten about there's.
Oh yeah, hang on, you didn't mention the girls. Come on, inclusivity.
There's a girls rugby team, there's a ladies rugby team, there's a wheelchair rugby team. So lots of rugby in different sort of forms, and the ladies rugby has over the last sort of 3 years has really sort of grown from sort of strength to strength. Just in terms of the number of participants, but the demographic of the teams and all that sort of stuff. It's been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So go on, time for a shameless plug for players.
Absolutely. If you have played rugby previously and want to get back into playing rugby, or just moved into the area, or maybe you've never played rugby before but think that looks like a good thing, then there's training most nights of the week for all standards, ages, ability, sexes. So get yourself down to Gravesend Rugby Club. It's a thriving community.
Yep, and having played it myself, it is
I was going to
fabulous.
say, you look interested.
I do look interested.
Be quite handy.
Let's not go there. Please don't commit me on the podcast. But yeah, I'd love it. I do miss it. Anyway.
I'll pass your details on.
Yeah, there we go. little connection, little partnership. Don't. I'll be doing the next podcast in a scrum hat and a gum shield. Anyway, I've just come straight
black
from
eye.
Gravesend Rugby Club. Oh, don't. Let's hope not. Okay, so we mentioned about 25,000. First thing I wanted to say is that's a huge amount of money. But in this day and age, when everyone is under pressure with finances, that's a massive amount of money. So, I mean, huge congratulations. If you're nearing that target, I mean, absolutely fantastic. Nicola, what does that mean for us, for Eleanor? What do those pounds equate to?
Before I give you some examples of what that could pay for, I would just like to say that every pound counts. This is a huge amount, but this is not the usual for our community fundraising. And I wouldn't want anyone to feel like this is the level of expectation we have, because this really is an extraordinary amount of money for a group to raise. But to give an example, £25,000 could pay for around 600 people to have a visit from a nurse in their own home. And that's predominantly where a lot of our care takes place, as we know, in the home. So that'd be around 600 people. It could pay for over 1,200 bereavement counselling sessions. So for somebody who's lost a loved one, they can receive that level of support. Or it could pay for around 300 visits to a child's own home to provide oncology support, meaning that the child's life is not being massively disrupted by going off into hospital. We can go into the child's home and deliver that care there. So I hope you take away today, I'll put this in an email for you guys as well, but take away that really your extraordinary efforts, and I know there's been a lot of work that's got into this, but your extraordinary efforts really are changing lives, and we're
That's
really
brilliant.
grateful.
Yeah.
Is that lovely to hear?
It is. And it also gives us encouragement for, the phase 2.
Yeah, very true. I think that we'd document, like you say, what that means in terms of what Nicola's just said, because I think that'd be important to share with the club. Yeah. Like, this is what you've been able to do so far.
I'll certainly do that.
The team are going to come in. We're looking for a date at the moment that everyone can come along to. But as you know, we'll be opening our wellbeing centre imminently. Which is very exciting.
In fact, it's probably going to be open at the point this goes out. Well, hopefully. I may have just thrown myself in it then. I've probably lost about a month now in the programme, but we should be nearly there at the point this goes out.
So we'll be getting the moles in, give them a look around, really early doors look around to see, they've contributed towards this. They, not just financially, but also they're helping raise our profile in our local community. People see what the moles are doing and go, oh, we could get involved like that. And it is inspiring other people to get involved. And you yourself, your team has pulled in your networks to get involved as well, haven't you? Because I mean, there's the mole hole.
Yes.
And there's been quite a few other.
Hang on, whoa. What's the mole hole? It sounds like a pub.
It is a pub.
There we go.
Another shameless plug. So the mole hole was set up by a group of former moles and partners of moles, and they run a micro pub in the centre of Gravesend in the Old Town.
Ah, nice.
So it's a great venue.
Yeah.
I think we are congregating there on Friday actually for our weekly.
Taster session.
Yeah, we have something called, I'm probably oversharing. We have something called FAF, which is Friday at 5, and we meet for a couple of hours on a Friday at 5. So we're having a FAF on Friday at the Mole Hole.
Good.
Because Adrian, who is whose nickname is Velcro, he texted me, said, make sure you push FAF on Friday. So, Adrian, I am pushing FAF on Friday.
If you're just tuning in, subtitles are available for the Mole Hole FAF, Velcro, FAF, whatever else you just said.
And everyone's got nicknames. This is brilliant.
Do you know, I make everyone, I used to play rugby, everyone had a nickname. I won't tell you mine, but...
Oh, go on.
No.
Any clues?
It was actually quite girly, to be fair, which is quite unlike me. But we won't go there. But yeah, everyone has nicknames.
They do, yeah.
So do you have nicknames in the fundraising team?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know what my team have given me.
What you're called outside a meeting.
Maybe you should do. Maybe
you should. Affectionate names.
Affectionate names. That all sounds fantastic. Are these what events have you run for this to generate this money? Because if anyone's listening thinking, like, I want to set a target like that. I want to do that. Like, how do you get there? How do you achieve that?
Well, when we announced the £25,000 target, some alcohol may have been involved.
Oh, so you're blaming the molehole now. Okay, so he's getting the blame for this target.
And I thought, wow, this will be, we'll get on with this. And then you kind of realise, actually, you've got to sort of break this down into lots of smaller events. So we've done a range of things. We started off with a barbecue, which was our first event, which Stephen and Janine did, and that raised about sort of £1,500. Wow. But we've done sort of a range of different sort of events. So like there'd be sort of charity auctions, raffles. We've done cake bakes. There's been the Mole Fest, which is down at the Mole Hole.
Wow.
We've done when we were on tour, we did a barrel of we asked everybody to bring some booze, and we auctioned off a barrel of booze at one of the places where we were visiting. We raised nearly £1,000 just by
my goodness.
people who weren't playing. Their objective was sell as many tickets to supporters from the good residents of Torquay. So the funding comes from lots of different places.
Yeah.
I guess one of the ones, and I kind of had a list of things which we threw out, and one of them was a naked moles calendar, which I just kind of threw out.
Now we're getting down to it, obviously. Naked moles calendar, right.
And I did, I haven't told Neil this, but when I gave put these suggestions out, Neil Martin said, I'll take that one on. And I thought, you'll never do this. You'll never do this. And then it was kind of like, oh yeah, we're doing the photo shoot on this date. And I was like,
you're in. The name's down.
I certainly would have been in the gym a lot more if I'd known he was actually going to do it.
Bit of notice, Neil, would have been nice.
I certainly would have had that large lunch. So he did that, and he got the calendar organised, and we have a moles ball every year. So we did a number of things, just like put a fiver in and sort of sort of standing competitions, all that sort of stuff, and then he got all these, him and his wife, Denise, got all of these calendars out, started pushing them around. Oh. And I was just like, had to turn quickly to my wife and say, there's something I haven't told you.
Don't turn to June. You might see something you
May, close, May. I was Mr. May. So, yeah, some of my family are quite unexplained nausea through the month of May.
Was it that bad? No, it was lovely. People, buy the calendar, please. But that's like some brilliant examples of loads of different things that you could be doing. And you know what I love is they're all fun. It's like, and this is what I think, like, there's maybe a slight misconception around hospice care. Of course, we deal with a lot of very complex patients at the worst times in their lives, but it's not just about that. And a lot of what you do, Nicola, in the community, like the Twilight Walk and everything that you've just mentioned around the barbecues and quiz nights and anything that we do in the community, we always want it to be as fun and as interesting as we possibly can. That's right, isn't it? It's a different vibe.
It is. I think as well, like a lot of the people that we talk to, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as say most people, but a lot of people that we talk to have experienced some element of contact with Eleanor, whether it be a grandparent or a parent or a friend. Over the course of the last 35 years, there's been all those contact points, and people remember. I mean, I came into Eleanor because Eleanor looked after my dad's youngest brother when he was in his early 40s. Wow. And he died in the 90s, and my whole family have been involved ever since then. And I guess what I'm trying to get across is that I think people understand what we do, particularly those who have used our service, and they know that we need to be there for everybody else so everybody can have a good death. And to do that, we need to encourage people to fundraise and do these fun activities that are going to bring new people into our world and encourage people to give. And I think they are all fun, but at the crux of the work that you've been doing, you've been coming into contact with lots of people who have said to you, oh, you looked after my grandfather.
Yeah.
So there's a personal connection for a lot of people.
And I think because we're not a big charity, we cover 4 boroughs, but our building is in Gravesend.
Yes.
And because of that, I think there is such a deep support and love for Eleanor and what we do. And I think people love getting involved with us for those reasons.
Yeah, I agree. And like you mentioned before, a lot of people, when you say like, oh, we're working with Eleanor, we're fundraising for Eleanor, they know the name and they've got that personal connection. And you're right, you never forget. My first experience of Eleanor was when I was 11 years old, and I never forget that interaction, the first person I saw when we went in to see my nan dying. Like, it is that personal tie, which I think is really important when you are getting behind a charity, to whether it's run an event, put your hand in your pocket, run a marathon even, like whatever you're doing, there is that personal tie, which I think maybe just elevates it, lifts that passion a little bit, doesn't it?
I agree.
Yeah. And is there any, so say for example, someone's listening now, they're thinking, oh, I'd love to do a bit of fundraising for Eleanor. Like, oh, I'd love to, I'm going to go for 27,000. No, I'm only joking. But like, so, something that they want to hit, like a big target, or like you say, even a small target, which is a lot for them. How do they go about it? How do they start something like this?
A really great place to start is by talking to us, because we can help.
Okay.
We can help with the planning, we can help with resources and so on. And we've got a really lovely team, Tina and George, our community fundraising team, who will help you plan those activities. Now, often people come to us and they've already planned out their activity, a bit like the moles. I mean, the moles were super organised. By the time we actually spoke to them, you had a pretty
That's the chairman
good,
keeping them in check.
you had a pretty good list of how you plan to raise that money. But it's okay to come to us and say, I want to help, but I don't know where to start.
I don't know how. Right, okay, yeah.
And we can help you from that point. If you're coming into us and saying, I know exactly what I'm going to do, that's brilliant too. We can help you with some resources and so on. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And the easiest way to contact the team is to just email fundraising@ellenor.org.
Gareth, for you,
Okay.
how do you see other, community organisations, shall we say, supporting Eleanor? Do you think it's an integral? It's almost like, I don't want to say like that you should do it, you have to do it. I don't want it to be like the onus is on you to do it. But what tips it over the edge to make you think, I need to make a stand, I need to, do this, I need to start generating an income for my local charities? Because a lot of people, let's say, like I've been involved in many clubs in my time, and we talk about a lot of stuff, but it's the doing, and it's the sitting down and the doing. Is it like you that take ownership of the task to be able to drive everyone else forward? Does it need one person to be able to stand up and say, I'll start?
Yeah, somebody needs to catalyse it and get it going. Mm-hmm. And then, so it is that, right, we're going to do something, and then make a statement, and then you can't go back.
So we want a public statement from everyone to say, Eleanor is our charity of choice. Yeah, I see what you mean. But it's like once you're public with it, or once you put your hand up and said, this is what we're doing, you're committed, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so we said we can do £25,000. And I was like, right, well, we've made the statement, and I've made that statement to a room full of 150 sort of people. We can't really go back now. So that was it. And then you've got to have a strong organising committee, and within that organising committee you've got to have a couple of people who are really passionate about it.
Okay.
And you've got that, haven't you?
Yeah, sort of, Pierre, Janine, Stephen and Fiona, they were the real horsepower in terms of driving it and doing the hard doing the hard yards.
Okay.
But then you've got to have buy-in from people to help you and get things moving. Mm-hmm. And some people surprise you a little bit and come up and say, I'll do that. And, there's a couple of people where we did our summer raffle. I was trying to say, do you think you could sell 25 tickets for me? And there's a guy called Ash Tester. He's not a mole, but he was just part of the social rugby. He said, yeah, I'll have some. And he ended up selling 170 tickets. I thought, well, where's that come from?
Yeah.
And Martin Taylor did 200. And the time before, there was a guy called Martin Welsh, and he did 90. And I thought, well, I only asked you to do 30. So It comes from different paces. Other different moles. Gary Hodges, got hold of tickets, to the Tower of London and sort of, the keys ceremony. Wow. They're able to. So people kind of pitch in their own way, and you get a bit of momentum.
And the club was supportive as well, weren't they? Because didn't they give you some tickets to auction as well? Yeah,
to the autumn, we get the club gets an allocation of international tickets.
Yes, they do.
So they're going, and I think we're going to do, because we've got the autumn internationals coming up, so we'll use that. And the club have been supportive in terms of, we have various events. We have the Vice President's Day, Sponsors Day, and they allow us to, do raffles and promote the cause and all that sort of stuff. So
wow,
yeah.
It's really thinking outside the box. Like, there's so many things that you've mentioned that have been like, the focus is to raise money for Eleanor, but in so many different ways. I think that's really inspiring, particularly for maybe some other clubs to look at and say, like, yeah, we'll have a piece of that. Like we'll do it as well.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It really is.
I'm sure as well that some members of the Moles wouldn't mind sharing their expertise. If there is another club out there that's interested in doing something similar, we can probably engineer some kind of meet-up to share ideas and experiences.
You're like the flagship club.
I think you've got to pace yourself as well. A little
Yeah,
bit.
that's true.
You talked about, there is a cost of living crisis,
There
or
is,
money is in short supply. So we definitely times we think, let's just pause for a little bit, because we've asked people to, contribute quite a lot over the last couple of months. Let's pause, give ourselves a bit of time to.
You are often going to the same people, aren't you?
Yeah. So when we do, what's in my mind about sort of phase 2 is we need activities which allow us to fundraise outside of people that are always coming to Gravesend Rugby Club. So it's, people are like, if you do if I said tomorrow I'm going to run a marathon, that would be something I could go into my Gravesend network, my family network, and my work network, and say, I'm going to run the marathon.
Yeah.
Can you contribute?
Yeah.
So that is an event that's easier to kind of extend outside of the Gravesend Rugby
true.
Club. So I've got a few things in my mind about what we could do that would allow us to fundraise a bit more widely.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point. Is it can't just be the rugby club network; it has to expand where people are willing and able to talk to their own personal networks, because, most people know a few other people that are not in that same club, and that can be where you start to really engage with new people that haven't perhaps given before.
Of course.
Oh, that's exciting. You just said the word marathon. I'm going to write that down.
Did I say marathon? Snickers, I meant.
That's it now. You're committed. We've got it on recording, okay? So London Marathon.
Yeah, I'm not built
the
for
chairman of the
marathons.
Moles. Do it. I couldn't do it. My knees wouldn't handle a marathon. But
We've got a
I
walkathon
love
next
it.
year, 26-mile walk.
You could do that.
Okay.
That's doable.
No, I've got an idea, but
We like ideas.
I'm going to find out more later. I'll keep
Not
you
to
posted.
divulge on the podcast because no one knows about it yet. But
I'm with one of my fellow moles, Gareth. We are hatching something for sort of June next year, which will require a bit of training. But available to people of all, well, not all, but most levels of fitness.
Well, I can't wait to hear more. This sounds
There we go,
exciting.
see?
Is it something that we can spread out to the wider Eleanor community?
So,
Sorry, tell me more.
basically pushing you.
I can never keep a secret.
You can't, Dominic.
So, the sort of things I'm thinking of is like more like a 3 peaks challenge, something that actually that's something, because I've always wanted to do the 3 peaks challenge.
Yeah.
I know we were going to try and do one this year, but we just couldn't get the timing to work and all that sort of stuff. So I'd like to do a 3 peaks challenge, because that is something that people can train for. It's actually quite a social event in terms of the training. It's something for people to achieve, but actually, but also people will say that's not easy.
Yeah.
So people would be potentially more willing to say, I'll sponsor you £1 an hour or whatever,
exactly.
whatever it
That's
might be.
That's a big slog, isn't it?
I've said it now. It's but I haven't had a beer, have I? So
I'm going to minute it.
no beer was involved in committing us to do the 3 peaks challenge.
You can't blame the molehill for this. Just you going.
No, I could have been drinking from
You could have been,
9 o'clock this morning.
But we haven't, just so. Feels like we might need to, but no, we haven't. So there we go. That's really exciting. So lots to talk about, obviously, outside the podcast. And you know what, that's been really, for me, certainly, one, understanding a bit more about what is involved, certainly from your team, and the breadth of things that you deal with and offer and support is fantastic. And particularly for those in the community who haven't really got a clue where to start, come and talk to us. Love that. And just like, I suppose, the ambition that with Eleanor at the heart of it, because that's our sort of phrase, if you like, we're at the heart of everything that we do for you, and it's our community, and I love that, and I love the fun element.
Well, you asked us how you get started, and that's it. You
That's
commit
it,
to something on a
exactly.
podcast.
Yeah, you do.
It's
3
up for the
peaks
rest of the world
challenge.
to
You
see,
heard it
isn't
here
Just
first.
line people up to come in and commit.
If anyone's up for it, let us know, or let the chairman know. He'll put you down. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you both. Really insightful as well. Just before we finish, it wouldn't be a podcast without a couple of random quiz questions, just to throw in there. Nicola, what's the most bizarre place or situation that you found yourself talking about hospice care? For example, like, were you ever mid-conversation in a skydive, dressed in an animal outfit? Or what's the most random event where you've thought, I can't believe I'm here, really, talking about Eleanor?
It's probably at a festival I went to, and I got talking to somebody who was from the same area as me, and we'd looked after her grandfather. And off the back
lovely.
of that conversation, where we just got chatting, she agreed to take part in a walkathon. So I'm going back a few years, but it was just quite a random, and it was in the northeast, so we were miles away, and you just don't expect.
Is this like you're cutting shapes, beer in hand maybe, and it's like, by the way, do you know about Eleanor?
It was in the queue for the toilets.
Oh, it was. We could have just stuck with mine. That was a lot more exciting than in the queue for the toilets, but that's fine. We'll go with that anyway. That was good. Thank you. Rugby clubs, this is for you, are renowned for doing outrageous things for charity. So let's pretend that the next Eleanor and Moles rugby fundraiser is a game played in slippers with a giant inflatable rugby ball. What slippers would you wear? What kind of slippers? Very technical question, this one.
Wow, that is tough because I don't normally wear slippers. So
No, I don't do slippers. Too restricting.
Yeah. So I think it would have to be sort of like a clown shoe, something like that.
I was going to say, like, you couldn't go open toe.
No,
you
nobody wants to
couldn't-
see my open toes. No.
That's true. Yeah. No, you couldn't go open
Rugby
toe.
players do, generally speaking, have quite
Awful feet.
Awful feet. Not quite as bad as dancers' feet.
That is true.
Because my wife was a dancer.
Yeah,
She's
there
got
we go.
dancers' feet.
Okay. She'll be happy to hear that.
She'll be happy to hear that. But generally, because people get they get their toes sort of stamped on and studs and everything like that. Yeah, they're not nice.
Not nice. No open toe slippers. One more question for you both. If you've got the chance to raise money for Eleanor by standing in the middle of Wembley Stadium and singing at full pelt your best karaoke song, what would your song be and why? Oh, dramatic pause.
That's a really hard question, isn't it?
So probably the only one I can probably remember off the top, well, not Bohemian Rhapsody because I don't know all.
That's a long one.
But
You're committed there.
It's an alcohol memory there, isn't there? That allows you to sing Bohemian Rhapsody, but probably You've Lost That Loving Feeling.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice one.
I love that song. That's a really good shout, that one.
Yeah.
And everyone, you can imagine it, everyone's singing with you, phones with the light on.
Yeah, beautiful.
You've lost that. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good
also,
choice.
when you make your debut for a rugby team, then you have to typically sing a song. And that was the song when I was at university and when I made my debut for the
there we
university
go.
rugby team. I had to sing that
So
one.
that'd be your
That's
one.
kind of the one that sort of springs to memory.
What about you, one?
I can't remember who sings it, but there's a song I love, and That's What Friends Are For.
Oh,
And I think that would be really
I know
inspiring because
it.
everyone could join in. You know, it's got like Elton John in it, Stevie Wonder.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
with
I
you.
can sing it
That's
now
a
if
good
you
one.
like.
Anyway, we're going to cut short the podcast. We're out of time. That's a shame. No, I'm not joking. You can sing it if you want.
you're good.
Okay, right, that's fine then. Thank you both again. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank
No, I
you for
really
having
enjoyed
us.
it.
Good. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. And join us for the next instalment on our Don't Say the Word podcast.